You are keeping a secret right now. Maybe it is small, something you did that nobody saw, something you feel that you have never told anyone. Maybe it is something you have carried for years, but you are keeping it deliberately, consciously, from specific people. And here is what nobody thinks to ask about that. When did that start? Not for you personally, for us, for the species. At what point in human history did one person look at another person and think, I know something and I am not going to tell you? Because keeping a secret is not simple. It is one of the most cognitively demanding things a human brain does. And the moment it appeared in our evolutionary story is the moment everything about human social life became more complicated, more dangerous, and more recognizably modern. A secret is not just silence. Animals are silent all the time. A prey animal that doesn't make noise when a predator is nearby is not keeping a secret. It is responding to immediate threat. A secret requires something fundamentally different. It requires that you hold two realities simultaneously in your mind: the reality of what you know and the reality of what someone else believes. And it requires that you manage the gap between those two realities deliberately, over time, across multiple interactions, without accidentally closing that gap. Cognitive scientists call this theory of mind, the ability to model another person's mental state, to understand that someone else has beliefs, knowledge, and perspectives that are different from your own. You cannot keep a secret from someone unless you first understand that they have a mind that does not contain what yours does. This is the foundation. And it turns out it is rarer than most people assume. Theory of mind was first formally studied by researchers David Premack and Guy Woodruff in 1978. They were studying chimpanzees and asked a deceptively simple question. Does the chimpanzee understand that other individuals have mental states? The test they designed, and the many variations that followed, revealed something that changed how scientists thought about animal cognition entirely. Chimpanzees show partial theory of mind. They understand that other individuals have different knowledge states. In competitive food scenarios, a subordinate chimp will consistently choose to approach food that a dominant chimp cannot see rather than food that is visible to both. The subordinate chimp is modeling the dominant chimp's visual perspective and using that model to make decisions. That is a form of secret keeping. The subordinate chimp knows where the food is. The dominant chimp does not. The subordinate chimp acts to preserve that knowledge gap. But it goes further than that. Researcher Brian Hare ran a series of experiments that became foundational in the field. He found that chimpanzees don't just track what a dominant individual can see. They track what a dominant individual has seen in the past. If a dominant chimp was present when food was hidden and then left the room, subordinate chimps showed measurable hesitation around that food even when the dominant was absent, because they modeled the dominant chimp's memory, not just its current visual field. That is a significantly more sophisticated operation. But here is where the human story diverges from the chimpanzee story in a way that is critical. Chimpanzees keep information from each other in competitive contexts: food, mating, status. The concealment is almost always about immediate resource competition. What humans do that no other animal demonstrably does is keep secrets in cooperative contexts. We conceal information not just to compete, but to manage relationships, to protect others, to maintain social structures, to plan, to deceive for reasons that have nothing to do with the immediate moment. And that difference is not small. That difference is the entire gap between animal concealment and human secrecy. Developmental psychologists have studied when human children develop the capacity for genuine secret keeping. The answer is surprisingly precise. Full theory of mind, the ability to model another person's false belief, emerges consistently between ages 3 and 5 across all cultures studied. Before that window, children cannot reliably keep secrets because they cannot fully model the gap between what they know and what another person believes. Every human alive went through that window. Every human alive crossed that threshold at roughly the same developmental point, which means the cognitive architecture for secret keeping is not learned from culture. It is built into the developmental sequence of the human brain. Now place that cognitive architecture inside the ancestral environment. In a band of 30 to 50 people living in close proximity with no privacy, no walls, no separate rooms, no darkness that wasn't shared, the emergence of secret keeping was not just a cognitive event. It was a social earthquake. Because the moment one person could conceive of information that another person did not have, and act to preserve that gap, every social relationship in the group became layered in a way it had never been before. Alliance formation became possible in a new way. You could plan with one person against another. You could coordinate a response to a threat without the threat knowing. You could manage your reputation across multiple relationships simultaneously by controlling what each person knew about you. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar, whose work on social brain theory shaped much of what we understand about human group size and social complexity, has argued that the explosion of human social complexity in the Upper Paleolithic, beginning roughly 50,000 years ago, correlates directly with evidence of the kind of multi-layered social behavior that secret keeping enables. Cave art made in hidden locations, burial goods placed only with certain individuals, evidence of long-distance trade networks requiring trust between people who had never met. All of these require the ability to manage information asymmetry, to know things that others do not, and to act on that knowledge strategically. But secret keeping also introduced something the ancestral environment had never had to manage before: betrayal. The moment secrets became possible, the violation of trust became possible, and the social cost of betrayal in a group of 50 people with no exit was catastrophic in a way that modern social betrayal simply is not. Here is what the evidence suggests about when this started. The cognitive foundation, theory of mind at the individual level, almost certainly predates modern humans. Chimpanzee data suggests the basic architecture was present in our last common ancestor, somewhere between 6 and 8 million years ago. But the full human version of secret keeping appears to have exploded during the Upper Paleolithic cognitive revolution, the same period that produced art, long-distance trade, complex burial ritual, and the first evidence of individual identity expressed through personal ornamentation. All of those things require the same underlying capacity: the ability to model other minds, the ability to manage what others know, the ability to present one version of yourself while holding another privately. The first secret was almost certainly kept by someone who needed something from someone else and knew that telling the full truth would prevent them from getting it.